as I've discussed previously, Status Quo hit number 1 50 years ago in the UK singles charts with Down Down in January of 1975 for 1 week. Later that year, a comedian from Birmingham hit the top 5 in the UK charts with a song which he inserted the phrase down, down into. That comedian was Jasper Carrott. And if you're not in the know about who Jasper Carrott is, he was born Robert Norman Davis in Birmingham 80 years ago. He turns 80 this year. And people will know him as a comedian of many years. He's had specials on British TV. He's also done lots of other things as well. He was the presenter of the game show Golden Balls. He did acting in The Detectives and All About Me in the early 2000s. He's just done absolutely everything. He started his career as a singer, and in the late 1960s launched a folk club. And this is kind of where it all begins for him, because in between the songs, he's doing these little anecdotes, and thus that starts to take over, and he becomes the comedian that we now know. And 50 years ago, he has a hit. He's asked to record a single. He's recorded, a couple of albums by that point, but they're mostly sort of spoken word comedy. His debut being In the Club, Jasper Carrott in the Club. And he records a single called Funky Moped. Now, the song was written by the American singer-songwriter, comedian. He's another one who's done absolutely everything. His name is Chris Roman, or Roman. Apologies if that is mispronounced. And he's also a figure that was in the folk clubs at this point. And so Jasper does his own version of Funky Moped. And this is a song which is sort of traditional, sort of 1950s throwback rock and roll with a bit of rockabilly in there. And it goes into sort of interesting directions. And it's about a guy dancing with a girl, and then that girl riding home with somebody else. And basically then, after that introduction, Jasper spends the entire song talking about when his front moped mudguard is fixed, he's going to find the creep and put him down. He's essentially talking about how he's going to ride that moped and no one's going to tell him where to go. And that's basically the song. And it's very, very catchy. It became such a hit that he got to perform it on Top of the Pops. And that performance is well worth seeing. I think it's one of my favorite performances of all time, because I think he's performing it live. And personally, I prefer that live rendition to the record. Now, the record was produced by fellow person from Birmingham, Jeff Lynne of ELO, and it's Jeff Lynne, and Bevan, who was a schoolmate of Jasper Carrott back in the day, playing drums and backing vocals on this track. And as you would imagine, for a Jeff Lynne production, the production is immaculate. Everything does exactly what it's supposed to. I just have more of a preference, I think, for that live version, but they're both really, really good. But here's the thing, if you don't know, and people will tell you of a certain age, I think, that were there at the time, that Jasper Carrott's Funky Moped wasn't the reason why this song was a hit. A few years previously, Jasper had recorded this sort of little skit that he used to do, which was sort of a pastiche or parody or satire or whatever you want to call it, a mix of all of these things, of the Magic Roundabout, which was this animated series that was around at the time. Ivor Wood, Serge Dano, Eric Thompson narrating, and basically it's a parody of that that's a little bit on the risque side. It's very funny, and I believe that this is the reason why Funky Moped charted. So he's performing Funky Moped on the Top of the Pops because the real reason that people bought it, this Magic Roundabout pastiche, cannot be performed on the BBC or in fact anywhere else in broadcast media, although it might have been broadcast on radio stations. I believe that Jasper years later did this skit where he was talking about how a BBC station actually played it. So yeah, it's an interesting story, and you might be wondering why I'm talking about this on the Quo-Cast. Well, for one thing, Jasper has a connection to the Quo universe because he has included, Quo in his shows. He's, their music. He has done skits and sort of sketches and stuff where Quo have been a punchline. I remember there was one where he's driving in a car or something and he says, "Oh, there's a Status Quo cassette down here somewhere." It's part of the act, and I know that he is a big fan, and he has closed his shows live with it, playing with musicians like Bev Bevan and Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, among many other people as well. He's performed a version of Caroline, and he might have also done Rockin' All Over the World at some point. So, Jasper is a Quo fan, and the thing about Funky Moped, the song, is that in Chris Roman's original, there is a section where it says "find the creep and put him down," and it sort of extends. It goes down and then it goes into the "when I get my moped." And what Jasper does, and the thing is, you have to think this cannot be a coincidence. I'd love to get Jasper on here. I'm trying to do that at the moment. He goes "find the creep and put him down," and then in between the changeover in the chords he says "down, down," right? That's literally the reason why I'm talking about this, because in the same year he inserts the phrase "down, down" in the year that Quo hit number one, and knowing that he is a as he calls it, a closet Quo fan, closing his shows with Quo every time. That's just brilliant. And when I first heard it, I was like, is that what he's doing? Is that it? That's really cool. And of course it emphasizes in the song. It's not just thrown in there for laughs, although, it might be. I mean, it's Jasper Carrott. He's got some very funny stories that he tells. So Jasper Carrott's Funky Moped, I've got here in my hand. This is actually a reissue, and it was released by DJM, Dick James Music, the publisher of the Beatles catalogue at one point. And he also had Elton John on that label. So yeah, there's a lot of crossover. We know Elton John did a cover of Down the Dustpipe in his early career. So yeah, there's connections to Quo all over the place. Tell me, did you buy Funky Moped by Jasper Carrott? Did you buy it for Funky Moped? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you again for another episode of the Quo-Cast.